Next question is, this is going to focus on middle schools, which oftentimes doesn't come up in these types of discussions. What should the school system be doing to enhance retention of students on pathways to academic success during middle school and support parents at the same time? Yes, Ms. Vaillancourt.
Middle school is my pet place because middle school is a horror show for the parents, for the kids, in so many ways, and it doesn't need to be. And one of the things that we lose so many of our kids in middle school. We need to do much, much better. I worked very hard to eliminate the rising 8th grader rule where any kid who had less than a 2-point average or a D on his final report card in 8th grade wasn't allowed to participate in high school sports or high school in the first semester extracurricular activities because supposedly the middle school teachers needed that because it was the only way they could keep the 8th graders in control, which I find really hard to believe since we all know how much 13-year-olds respond to advanced planning and delayed gratification. But we need to provide middle school sports opportunities beyond intramural sports, back to like we had when we were kids, teams in middle school. That's a carrot that you can really motivate our most vulnerable populations with.
Mr. Proudfoot.
Middle school, elementary school, high school, or even adulthood. People need to feel a sense of belonging, a sense of safety, and a sense of security if they're going to be able to learn. Is what I see the key to our middle schoolers. You look at often middle school 6th grade team, 7th grade team, or pods within the school. That's done for a reason. It's so that students feel a sense of belongingness. They're committed to the school. I also think that our teachers need to reach out and our support staff need to reach out and look for ways to connect with our students. Find ways to tap into their interests and really engage with them through the learning process.
Mr. Meshkin.
I was thinking back on this question when I was in middle school, and those were rough years. Gosh, I remember the 7th grade, the summer before the 7th grade, I got braces and glasses. I'll tell you, I was a sorry-looking sight going into the 7th grade. But I'll tell you, I think that middle school is an area where we are really missing the mark. Biologically, kids at that age need more physical activity than they do in elementary school and middle school, and they get the least in the Howard County Public School System. I completely concur with Cindy. We need to have a dramatic increase in physical activity for students in those grades. It's going to help the teachers from a behavioral standpoint. It's going to create the belongingness that Mr. Proudfoot talked about as their school spirit by having interscholastic sports in the middle school, additional intramurals, additional physical activity. And we really need to have a focus on wellness, mental health well-being, and those type of things at that age because we have our largest dropout rate in the 9th grade, which means the things that are preceding that, if we're going to prevent it, need to happen in the middle school.
Mr. Ballinger.
I take a different approach because I think some of the things that are said are things I've said before. I need to give a shout out to Dunlogan Middle School because maybe, as Cindy said, they're one of the most challenging times. If it had not been for the quality of teachers, the program, the administration at Dunlogan Middle School, and my son's special education teacher, Miss Wetmiller, we could have had a very trying time. But at Dunlogan, and I think in a lot of our schools, we have dedicated teachers at that level who understand that age and are engaging and making sure our children enjoy school, but also are learning life. So maybe I'm not that pessimist as some of us have talked about. I feel very strongly that we got great programs, from the buddy programs to mentors and to great quality teachers. And I tell you, thank goodness for Dunlogan Middle School, because my son now will be successful with autism in Wild Lake. And that's done by dedicated teachers and dedicated staff. And I feel very strongly that that is where we are successful in today's community.
Okay. Mr. Walker.
I agree with so much of what has been said. The thing that I would add to that is adolescence is a very important and very difficult transition. And oftentimes in elementary school, our kids need us. Our kids depend on their parents' love and support. They go into middle school, and now their friends become the most important people in the world. It's not a time for parents to back out of the school involvement process. It's a time for them to be even more engaged, to stay in tune with the teachers and to identify the things that the students need, but also to understand that this is another transition in the life of a child, and when parents are involved, students do better. When parents stay connected and their children know that the parents are involved, students do better.
Ms. Kornreich.
Two of the places that we're missing the boat in middle school. One is the transition into middle school from elementary school. There's a lot of support for kids, particularly ones performing below grade level or who need extra help or have special education needs. They get a lot of support in elementary school, and when you enter middle school and all of a sudden you're expected to follow the schedule and switch teachers 6 times, and it just all of it that goes, everything that goes along with it, a lot of the support erodes. Because they are in a general ed classroom all of a sudden with not a lot of the support they had in elementary school. The other place I think we're missing it is the transition from middle school to high school. And part of that is, like I was saying when I was talking to my neighbors, they split into 2 different high schools. So all of a sudden the strong bonds and relationships that these kids have formed that support them through middle school are broken when they go to 9th grade. We need to think about how to reconstruct that.
Okay. Mr. Aquino, did you have a comment?
Okay. I'll just follow up by acknowledging life is full of transitions, and the 5th through 6th, the 8th through 9th are challenging. I'm not sure I understand. I have to admit, I'm not sure I fully understand the problem from the standpoint that studies are going to, have studies showing different things. You have studies showing that, a K through 8 program is better than a K through 5 program. You have other studies that show a K through 5 program is better than a K through 8 program. The bottom line, I think, though, is we have to do what's best for the children. I know, and again, my personal experience, I'm not sure, Brian mentioned, I had braces in 5th grade and glasses. I'm not sure that transition from 5th to 6th was better because I was in a K through 8 school, or if it would have been better if I had to go from 5th to the 6th grade. I don't know. We have a system that's now set up. We have lots of capital investment in the current program, and I think we have to make the best of it.
Ms. French.
I'd just like to add that our middle school teachers know of this problem, and they work very hard. They have Kid Talk, where they talk about individual students who are having trouble and how they could work as a team to help the students. They provide a lot of extra activities to make the academic part of the school day relevant. That, to me, is what the students want to know. Why do I have to know this? How will this help me? How is it relevant to real life? And that's what our teachers do. For example, at Dunlogan, they have a wonderful wetlands, and the students just love tramping out there in all kinds of weather and constructing and planting plants and constructing pathways. There's a lot of things going on in the middle school level that we're not aware of, but our teachers and principals are very much interested in engaging the students.
Okay.